Good afternoon, and welcome to the WBC Faster Together LinkedIn Live series, where we talk with women, men, and members of the WBC community about how we're going to drive equal position, pay, and power for all business women. The WBC is an unprecedented alliance of over 60 women's business organizations collaborating together to achieve equal position, pay, and power for all business women. It is the first business movement dedicated to equity and diversity, and it's comprised of professional women and men, business organizations, public and private companies, and the media, accelerating change through collaboration, advocacy, action, and accountability. By uniting more than 60 of the leading women's business organizations and over 435 champions, the WBC activates our vast network to attain immediate and long-term results around 9 essential action initiatives. The first 3 focus on executive women's leadership in business, and they are CEO leadership and sponsorship of women CEOs, women in the C-suite and executive leadership with P&L responsibility, and women in the boardroom. Our next 3 action initiatives focus on underrepresentation of women in business, women entrepreneurs and access to capital, women in capital and finance, and women in technology. And the final 3 are critical for equity for women in business. They are diversity, equity, and inclusion, gender and pay parity, and building out women in the pipeline. Thus, our work focuses on ensuring more women CEOs in the C-suite and on boards, a demand for gender and pay parity, increasing access to institutional capital and capital for women entrepreneurs, driving more women as controllers of capital allocation, parity for women in underrepresented business sectors such as technology, and leveraging learning and development to drive pipeline promotions. Interwoven across every initiative is our call for inclusivity, diversity, and equality for all women, including women of color, the LGBTQIA community, and other disenfranchised women. Our collaboration and network is spearheaded by our board, partners, advisory, and leadership councils. The WBC reaches millions of business leaders across the United States and globally. Our council and board directors include more than 34% people of color, reflecting our commitment to diversity. And the power of combining the collaborative approach with our women's business movement is already creating momentum and accelerating the pace of change for business women. So today we have one of our fantastic Leaders Council champions, Purba Majumder, president and co-founder of Cybervation, where we want to discuss the subject of women CEOs, and it's specifically with a focus on women CEOs and underrepresented like the technology industry or in tech positions. Welcome, Purba.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm just so excited to be a part of this series. I've been following this, and it's really exciting that you highlight women from different backgrounds and the mission of WBC. I very much admire this.
Well, we're thrilled to have you both a part of the WBC and here, and I'm always thrilled to have a conversation with you. So first, tell us a little bit about Cybervation. Tell the audience, what are you doing?
Sure. So Cybervation is a technology solutions company. So by that, we mean it's not only like software solutions, it can be products. It also is staffing solutions. So we focus on developing custom software. We have our own products for the retail and hospitality industry. It is called Bistro UX. And we also have an associated product for Cameo Card. And these are for retail and hospitality industry, specifically restaurants, grocery stores, bakeries, those types of institutions. And then we're offering online ordering, curbside ordering, gift cards, coupons, loyalty programs, all of these types of solutions, very similar to DoorDash or Uber Eats. The same type of technology, we give them tablets and they're able to accept orders and do the transaction processing and everything. So the reason I'm so passionate about this, the company and our goal is that our entire focus is on minority and small businesses. So we are providing platform to the small businesses that do not have the wherewithal to build expensive custom solutions like some of our other clients. So that's kind of our focus for every solution that we provide. It's affordable and it's scalable, yet very easy to use. So those are the three things. And then for the staffing solutions, we do both IT staffing as well as healthcare staffing, which, as you know, has been in huge demand. So we partner with state to local to commercial companies, and we provide essential staffing resources like RNs, LPNs, STNAs, NPs, all kinds of solutions.
It's so interesting and yet so timely, the intersection between the development of technology and the COVID world. I always want to say post-COVID world, but it's not necessarily post-COVID. But I want to get on that theme of kind of the focus, but also the importance that we've seen placed on diversity, equity, inclusion over the past year, and really look at kind of, as a CEO in this area and it's this industry, and you're working with various types of industries. Why is D&I so important, and why is it important in these types of industries?
Sure. I mean, we feel like diversity and inclusion is important for all businesses, small and big, and especially in the technology space, because a diverse and inclusive business culture is essential for growth. And if the company, values people from different backgrounds and believes in interacting with other cultures, it allows for stronger workforce. It also, the company embraces people from different backgrounds, then there is an inclusive and diverse culture within the company. And the more, because the people, when they come from diverse backgrounds, they're bringing their perspective, their religion, their culture, everything is different. So we are able to leverage from their experiences. And that's why it really helps build a very strong workforce within the companies. And in our company, we are very much committed to that. 80% of the people who work for us come from diverse backgrounds, from different countries all over the world. And 60% are women of color. So I'm very proud about that.
I like to hear that 60%. That's pretty fantastic. I think that's wonderful. And I want to sort of talk about that. So we've been talking a lot, and we have within the WBC and the world, right, about kind of the dearth of women, and women only make up 25% of the workforce in the tech industry generally. What are some of the barriers that women face, in today's world in this industry, and what has changed, and how can we address some of those barriers to allow more women to not only enter, but stay and rise up into leadership positions such as where you are?
Sure. I think, when I was, so I worked for the corporate America for about 15 years of my life. And then I started the company as a consulting company when I was working. And then I quit my job in 2010 and focused on the business. So based on my experience, what I saw was there were lack of women role models and lack of opportunities. So a lot of times when I would be working within the teams, I would be the only woman in the team. Or there were not enough people that I could look up to, specifically in the technology space. So there wasn't enough mentoring or any other opportunities that we were presented with at that time. It was more like, you have the project and you go just work on it type of situation. So I think that that's kind of the reason where, we are in this type of a space where, we don't see enough women. But I think things are changing a lot right now. Obviously, I'm dating myself a little bit. But now I think a lot of companies are paying more attention to this, talking about these. I think the larger corporations are. But we need to have more conversation, and that would be helpful, I think.
Yeah, the role model and the conversations, and I feel like like you said, those conversations are happening now. In that vein, what would you advise, women leaders who are saying, I'm excited, I want to go in the tech industry, Purba, I want to work for Cybervation, and someday I want to be a CEO or I want to be in the C-suite. What advice do you have for getting there? And in light of these conversations and the sort of transformation, the ability to identify D&I, gender inequity as important issues.
Right, sure. I mean, I think that there are several things that we can do right now to focus on those things. One would be definitely building up leadership skills. In addition to the companies have to focus on grooming the women who are in that position where they're getting ready for C-suite roles. Some companies are implementing such plans, but like I said, more work is needed. Now, some women are not even aware of such opportunities. So I would say that researching the company, finding out, what their programs are that might be supportive of some of these things would be a starting point. And then we have to continue to identify other areas where we can help them. Like, for example, there are professional organizations that are focused on women's leadership or women in boardrooms, such as WBC. And I think, being a part of those organizations, hearing from other women who are in C-suite roles, whether they are in the commercial space or in, like a business kind of environment, those are all different things. And I myself, I became, when I was working for the corporations, I think I was like, the work days were so long. So I was like only working. I was working crazy number of hours. And then I decided that, no, I'm going to focus on my business. I'll have more flexibility. And that is when I started attending a lot of different events and focused on women's leadership, things of that nature. And that's how I became aware of these opportunities. But more importantly, I think it's very important to find mentors, who look like you, who might be able to guide you, give you some kind of, I guess, can show you some pathways to different areas. And even if they don't think that this is the company is the right fit, I would say look for a company where they value more women in leadership and that type of a role. If that's the goal, then that's where we should be. And in the entrepreneur space, I can say, especially in the tech space, it's a heavily male-dominated industry. And we definitely need to have more focus on supporting these women, either the women who are immigrants or women of color, and give them the support so that they can bring change, they can help other women and kind of lead the way.
There's so much in that answer. And I was just going through the list of kind of all the things we talk about, right? Like having the role model, giving women access to information, having the commitment. It leads to an interesting question there. One of the threads I wanted to pull out of that is sort of, if a woman wants to be a CEO, and right, not everybody does, right? But there's that traditional pathway, or that pathway of kind of joining one of the bigger commercial companies, as you mentioned, and taking the steps to rise up. And then there's kind of maybe that less traditional route, right? Of either founding your own business and being the founder CEO, or being an entrepreneur first and that sort of thing. What do you feel like with the businesses you work with? What's happening now? Because you'll see things about women leaving the workforce, and you also hear things about women founding their own businesses and starting to build businesses. What are you seeing happening in the landscape today?
I'm seeing that there are more women interested in founding their own businesses, doing whatever they want to do. So here, there are two things happening in this space. So obviously, everybody during the COVID, it became clear that every business has to be online in some way or the other, right? Some form or the other, because that is the only way they can stay alive. Since, for example, the restaurants that we work with, a lot of them previously, they would not offer online ordering. And now when we had a dine-in ban here in Ohio. And so when that happened, that it became clear to them that that is one of the ways for them to survive. And so every business, is aware of that online component. So if you are going to be able to offer something along those lines, and I have heard from women who are offering solutions through Amazon, like a lot of different businesses have started, whether it be like in the jewelry business or clothing business or the PPE and other essential supplies. There's just so many different ways to, I guess, sell your products online these days. So
Yeah.
there are different ways, these women can start their businesses without having to make an expensive investment. Because there are a lot of platforms that now we can use to sell our products. Obviously Amazon is there. There's Facebook. There is Etsy. There is eBay. I mean, there's just so many platforms that, even Instagram, and everybody is offering a way for people, and Google, and everybody is offering a way for them to sell online. So I think things are becoming more easier. Whereas in the past, you always had to come up with your solution, or, there were not that many solutions available for them to use if they wanted to start the business.
That's fantastic. So I'm going to give you one last word, and then we're going to have to close this out since we're our LinkedIn Live lunch hour. But what's your, call to action, or what's your word of inspiration that you kind of want to leave all of us with what you're doing, what you see happening, and where we're going in terms of diversity within top leadership of business?
I have two thoughts. One is that if you are not happy where you are, I encourage you to, either seek a different company or see if founding your own business can be something you can do. The reason being, I think times are so different and the opportunities are just so great right now that I've never seen before. It's so difficult to find good people that the companies are, doing a lot to keep their employees happy. So that would be your way to, get to what you want. And then secondly, if you are not happy, then try, founding your own business. And then last but not least, I think we should all be focused on helping more women of color. If the employees that we have, we should help them grow, and we should be an inspiration for them.
Purba, you couldn't have said it better. And, that's really the commitment of the Women Business Collaborative, which is why you're one of our key stakeholders and leaders in this. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for inviting me.
And thank you all. We'd like to thank everyone who joined us. Our next show will be Thursday, November 18th at 12 p.m., which will be speaking about women on boards. And I know Purba mentioned that earlier. So keep up to date on our guest list, the progress of our movement, and follow us on social media at WBC Collaborative on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Have a happy Thursday and a happy Veterans Day.